Hey guys, what's up? I am back with another video. So in this video, we will doing the speed test comparison between the iPhone 13 Pro Max versus the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G. And the Samsung S20 Ultra 5G is powered by Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 SoC with a 12GB of RAM, while the iPhone 13 Pro Max is powered by Apple A15 Bionic SoC with 6GB of RAM. And this is the first iPhone to have a LTPO 120Hz refresh rate, and this is the first Samsung S series phone to have a 120Hz refresh rate. So I am very excited to see that how is the iPhone and Samsung is gonna perform in terms of the smoothness wise. So on the back we have a quad cameras on the Samsung versus a triple cameras on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So iPhone 13 Pro Max has a 12 megapixel f1.5 aperture with the sensor shift OIS main camera. Then we have a 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 12 megapixel telephoto lens, which give you a 3x optical zoom with OIS, while Samsung has a 108 megapixel f1.8 aperture with optical image stabilization. Also we have 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 48 megapixel telephoto lens, which give you a 4x optical zoom with OIS. Also we have a TOF sensor on the Samsung versus a LiDAR scanner on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Also the back on both phones is made up of glass, and the frame of the iPhone is made up of stainless steel, while Samsung has an aluminum frame, and the frame of the iPhone is completely flat. So you can see it feels more premium in the hand over the Samsung S20 Ultra, which has a rounded frame, but I feel the rounded frame feels more comfortable in the hand over the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So on the bottom we have a USB Type-C on the Samsung versus a Lightning port on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Also we have a stereo speakers on both phones with IP68 water and dust resistance. So now let's quickly boot both of these phones up at the same time. So logos came up first on the Samsung S20 Ultra, and iPhone is running on iOS 16.4, while Samsung is running on OneUI 5.1, which is based on Android 13. So iPhone 13 Pro Max is super faster, as you can see. Yes, and this is a carrier phone, but still iPhone is much faster when it comes to booting up. And now let's talk about the displays between these two devices. iPhone has a 6.7-inch Full HD Plus Super Retina XDR OLED display with LTPO 120Hz refresh rate, HDR10+ support and Dolby Vision, and 1200 nits of max brightness with Apple notch smaller over the previous iPhones, while Samsung S20 Ultra has a 6.9-inch Quad HD Plus Dynamic AMOLED 120Hz refresh rate with HDR10+ support, 1400 nits of peak brightness. Also on the front we have a ceramic shield on the iPhone versus a Gorilla Glass 6 on the Samsung S20 Ultra. So everything's closed up in the background, no application is running in the background. Also we have same Wi-Fi network on both phones. So now let's start off with the phone dialer, slightly faster on the iPhone. So now let's open settings, again slightly faster on the iPhone. So now let's go to the display, 120Hz refresh rate versus LTPO on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which automatically change. Now check out Amazon shopping, and that is slightly faster on the iPhone. Scrolling feels buttery smooth, 120Hz on both phones is working absolutely fine, and that is also very similar. So now check out some games application. So now let's start off with the Candy Crush Saga. 13 Pro Max and S20 Ultra is both phones is perform very similar. And now let's open Instagram, slightly faster on the Samsung this time. And now let's see Pinout, that is also very similar as you can see. And Snapdragon 865 on the S20 Ultra and Apple A15 on the 13 Pro Max, both phones is perform very similar. Snapchat slightly faster on the Samsung. Spotify faster on the iPhone this time. Subway Surfer, another game, and this time iPhone is taking the lead, as you can see. Only 1 second difference there. So let me show the speakers on both phones. First on the iPhone, And now on the Samsung. So now let's see temper 2 and temper 2 faster on the Samsung. Again, we have different versions on both phones, but this is the latest versions on both phones. And now let's see PUBG Mobile. Apple A15 with Apple 5 core GPU. So only 1 second difference there, as you can see, between the Snapdragon 865 versus Apple A15. Also in that game, we have smooth graphics with 90 FPS on the 13 Pro Max versus a smooth graphics with extreme frame rate, and the extreme frame rate is also not really stable on the Samsung. So the gaming performance, it is much better on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So now let's see Twitter, slightly faster on the Samsung. Zedge, and Samsung is, as you can see, is taking the lead. iPhone always open. Zedge app very slow, and scrolling feels really smooth, as you can see, no jitters, anything like that. So last I'm launching the cameras on both phones. Default camera application, let's see who is faster. So iPhone is much faster, and iPhone has a 12 megapixel f1.9 aperture now with autofocus, while Samsung has a 40 megapixel selfie camera, but the selfie camera, it is miles better on the iPhone. Okay guys, now let's see internet browsing speed. So I am seeing default Safari internet browser on the iPhone versus Samsung internet on the Samsung. And now let's see GSM Marina, and iPhone is still loading, and Samsung is way faster in that regard, and iPhone is still loading. I don't know why. And now let's wait for the iPhone. So now let's see scrolling feels really smooth. So next on the list is apple.com. Apple.com, it is back and forth, but now let's open this at the same time, and this time both phones is perform very similar, as you can see, and scrolling feels buttery smooth, no jitters, anything like that. So now check out RAM management. So Samsung has a 12 GB of RAM, while iPhone has a 6 GB of RAM. So let's see who's performed good in the RAM management. Phone dialer still there. Settings, Amazon shopping, let's see Candy Crush Saga, Instagram, let's see Pinout, Snapchat, Spotify, Subway Surfer. And now let's see temper 2. Now let's see PUBG. So now let's opening up the Twitter, still there, and last we're back to the internet browser where we left, as you can see. And guys, so what I have to say regarding the apps opening speed, as you can see that, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the Samsung S20 Ultra, both phones is perform surprisingly very similar in system-based apps as well as in games. Only in the Subway Surfer we have a 2 or 3 second difference between these two devices, and the Samsung S20 Ultra is a really optimized phone in my opinion, thanks to OneUI 5.1 optimization, while iPhone 13 Pro Max with Apple A15 not that much faster that I anticipated. So in terms of the RAM device in that area, both phones is perform excellent in the RAM management, not a single refresh on both phones. And now let's talk about the battery sizes. So iPhone 13 Pro Max has a 4352 mAh battery size with a 20-watt fast charging support, no charger in the box, while Samsung on the other hand has a 5000 mAh battery size with a 45-watt fast charging support. Yes, in the box we also got a charger with the Samsung. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you like this video. So do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel for daily tech videos like this, and I will see you in my next video. Peace out.